Hello and welcome to this time taste challenge. We have two Canadian whiskeys um, blended, typical way they do it over there. Not the only way, but the typical way. They're both 40% alcohol. This is aged 3 years, the Harwood, and this 40 Creek Barrel Select it doesn't have an age statement, so we don't know. Okay, hello Herbie. All right, so let's get on with it. Harwood, introduced in 1969. There was an old Harwoods, Duncan Harwoods, in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, but that company went out of business and probably the trademark expired. And then Seagram started up Harwood in 1969 at 40% alcohol. Probably really has no relationship at all to the old company, just that they took over the rights to it. The old distillery was in Vancouver, okay, the original Duncan Harwood. So in the old Duncan Harwood whiskey, Harwood's was 90.4 proof. 90.4. This is 80 proof, which means 40% alcohol in North America. And there's a duck in the marshland. Nice pen and ink drawing of the duck. Red maple leaves. A pretty label. It is sold in glass bottles and plastic. Well, I got a hold of plastic because that's the only time I've ever seen it in plastic. It was $14.99, believe it or not. $14.99. Now here is 40 Creek Premium Barrel Select. Now it's been rebranded. Like right after I bought this, there's the like a bronze plaque with the distillery and the river waterfall. 40 Creek Premium Barrel Select Canadian Whiskey. But right after I bought this bottle, they rebranded it as 40 Creek Niagara Whiskey with a new label, new bottle design. They say same whiskey though. They just wanted to make it more modern looking, more up to date, which I didn't see a need for, but they did. Okay. 40 Creek is owned by Campari Canada. They bought it from the original owners. You know how that works. You start getting popular and you get bought. They make many, many, many different 40 Creek whiskeys. They make whiskey creams, other flavored whiskeys, a whole assortment. I like the brown bottle. It protects the whiskey from the light. But I did find this one. This is their flagship. Okay, their main one. And it's at Walmart, and they still sell it. I think. I know Albertsons does, and they had it on discount for $9. How you like that? $9. You heard me right. Isn't that crazy? So I couldn't resist. I had to buy it. Now it says since 1992. Well, that's when the company got started and they started building their, setting up their equipment and distilling, but they didn't release their first whiskey till 2000, the year 2000. And I get the feeling that it's probably about 8-year age since it took them 8 years to release it. But like I say, that's speculation. I was talking to Buffalo Trace on the phone yesterday for over 16 minutes. And their representative, she told me, she said, well, we're getting away from statements, as you probably know. I said, yes, I've been reading about that. She said, so we just said there's a number of reasons. Jack Daniels told me it was a tax reason. When I was at Jack Daniels, they said they avoid putting an age statement on most of their stuff because then you have to pay a tax on it if you have an age statement. I don't know. That's what the man said. I don't know about tax law, okay, or any of those features, but that's what he said. I remember that. But she said what they'll do is like Buffalo Trace, it's usually 8 years. Typically they age it for 8 years. But she said if they age it to taste, like Jack Daniels does, they'll taste it, and if they find after 7 years it's ready to roll, they don't wait another year. They just bottle it. And they make it scarce intentionally. I know they do. That way you'd be trying to track it down. I mean, Buffalo Trace in Louisiana is $23.99 at some stores. $23.99, but you can't find it. I've had it 2, 3 times, and I never had a bottle. I never bought a bottle, but yet. But it just tastes like a regular old whiskey to me. I don't see the whole. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like why people? Because I've tasted it and it's fine. I like it, but I don't see the reason why you want to be tracking it down, be looking all for it and everything. Eagle Rare, yeah, that's a little better, 10-year age, but I wouldn't be on the lookout for that one either. But I do see it show up sometimes. All right, anyway, enough of that. We're on Canadian whiskey. All right, now bourbon. See if this will focus. We can notice a significant difference in appearance. The 40 Creek is dark copper, and the Harwood is honey gold, almost just straight up gold, very light. It's very light. Very light. Now, I'm trying to figure out what is my score so far. I think I got it right. Let's see. Let's go back to the first taste challenge with this Harwood. Ooh, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is number 16. Okay, 16. 16. It's not bad. So if I get it right tonight, if I get this correct tonight, that'll give me a 75% success rate. 3/4 correct. I wish it was 100. But the problem was this Harwood was very, very similar to some other Canadian whiskeys that I have. In fact, it was so similar, I couldn't tell it apart. And I tried my best. I didn't want to get it wrong, but I did. So that's the thing about the blind taste test. You think you know, like people say, I know my whiskey. I know my Jack Daniels. Okay, I know it. Well, let's see how well you know it. We'll put it in a blind taste test. Then we'll find out. Now, if I give you 5 taste tests and you get Jack every time, you got it. Now, obviously, you would have to use similar products. If you could say, he could tell I could tell Jack Daniels apart from any Isle of Scotch. Well, I hope so, because that's smoky, and it might be a different proof, and it's from Scotland, and it doesn't taste anything like a Tennessee bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, sour mash whiskey. So no, a blind taste test has to put similar products versus one another. Otherwise, it's a meaningless thing, and there's no purpose for it. Like I saw some guy doing like a strong stout, like 6% stout against a light lager. Well, I mean, yeah, who's going to get that wrong? I mean, why are you even doing that? I mean, what's the point of that? It's like you're not going to confuse a banana with a tomato if you're doing a blind taste test. There's got to be some kind of logic behind and some sense, behind a blind taste test. It's that you try to see if you can tell a product apart from similar products. Not some wild extreme, I could tell them apart. Well, yeah, so can everybody else on earth. Okay. The whole point of the blind taste test is is the product you're dealing with distinguishable from others of its ilk in its type category? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Is it better or worse? You wouldn't know until you did the blind taste test. Harwood, it is turning out better than you would expect, considering the price. $14.99 for a handle, and I can't even tell it apart from some other ones that are much more expensive. That's telling me it's a great value. I would recommend this. I mean, I really would. I would theoretically buy it again. I mean, in reality, I won't because I'm trying to get through so many Canadian whiskeys. But excuse me. But theoretically, I certainly would buy it again, especially at that price point. Yeah, grain. Oh, I forgot to put in my notes, and I'm going to add that 40 Creek is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and new white oak barrels. They didn't say charred, just new white oak barrels. So they age it in two different types: old bourbon barrels and new oak barrels that haven't been used before. That's why they're new. Okay, but 40 Creek, got it. On aroma only. So yeah, this is a challenge that wasn't very challenging. So that gives me a 75% success rate. Let's go with the taste. Nice grain, aged, nice sweet grain, sweet corn, barley, rye, sort of thing. Aged in ex-bourbon and in new white oak barrels. There's no law that you have to use white oak, but they say that this. I've read from distillers on their website, they prefer it because it's more of a neutral oak. It doesn't like mess with the flavor. They want it to be neutral. Like I was asking at Anheuser-Busch, people always ask this question: why do you use beechwood to age the beer? Like it says on the Budweiser bottle, beechwood aging. They say, well, it's because beechwood is the most, beech trees, their wood is the most neutral, from their experience, neutral flavor. It doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't tamper with the beer's flavor, is what they said. They don't have to use beechwood. They could use, oak, but they at Anheuser-Busch, they choose beechwood. And they say to give the beer surface area for the yeast to cling to. The bottom fermenting yeast goes to the bottom of the barrel. Look at that toothpaste stain. Doesn't look very pretty. Well, I brush my teeth, so my teeth are clean. I might do a video about that, like complaints about video reviewers. Not to name anyone, but I could, like they have some people that do videos. They should not be on the internet doing anything except maybe looking at it or whatever. But they'll come on there dirty, looking like you don't wash your hair. You could just tell. It's like, man, do you bathe? Do you brush your teeth? Like they look like they don't brush their teeth. I mean, they're repulsive people in their appearance. You say you're judging. Jesus said not to judge. Don't think it's meant in that way. I'm talking about a criticism of appearance in a video. That is a legitimate thing to say. You begging for people to watch your channel, but you come on there on video in a reprehensible manner. Of course, people are not going to watch, especially it's a food product and you turn in their stomach. And then you got the other channels where they're cursing like they in a locker room or at the worst low-grade bar room in the world. It's like you don't need to do that. And I told somebody, I made a comment, how does that help your channel? And then somebody else jumped in, like I wasn't talking to him, but he jumps in talking about, well, it's not as bad as racism. Or I said, well, of course, who said it was? You see, that's the trying to redirect the discussion. I simply asked a question: does cussing in the video help the channel? So and he's talking about racism and all. Answer the question at hand. Don't give me some spiel about, some rant about world problems. We're not talking about that. If I went to a restaurant and I said, this floor could be mopped, and they say, there's worse things in the world like war and poverty. I'm not talking about war and poverty. I'm talking about the floor could be mopped. Don't redirect the comment because you're defensive. Oh. Somehow I get the feeling that the 40 Creek has flavoring added. Don't know what that would be, but it tastes very maple syrup like. And if you read the current, not 20 years ago, but the current Canadian regulations for their whiskeys, it says it may contain caramel coloring and or natural flavor. That's all it said, natural flavors. It does not detail what the flavors could or should be. It's open-ended. You say, well, maple syrup is natural. It comes from maple trees. That's a flavoring. According to the law that you just read yesterday, that can be used. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about that. Now, the old regulations I was reading, that's no longer posted on their Canadian government website, used to talk about could be any type of liquor, other like bourbon, rum, brandy, or wine, as long as the wine is stored in small, they call it small wood. In other words, a regular barrel. But apparently they dropped that and just went to an open-ended natural flavors and let it be that. Can't be artificial flavor now. That would be a violation of the law. It would disqualify it as Canadian whiskey. Now you might be able to make a Canadian liqueur, you see, but you can't call it whiskey. All right, so this really does taste to me. Get sweet corn. It's like that kettle corn, where they add the caramel, which I never eat, but I like it. But it tastes like that. A little bit of char, medium body, mostly dry finish, easy going, no bite. Everything's nice. Let's see, what is Walmart? I'm going to go watch the news in 5 minutes. Let's see, what is Walmart selling this for at the current time? They're not open right now. They used to be open 24 hours around here, but ever since Hurricane Katrina, they close at 11 at night and don't open till 6. So close for 7 hours for stocking the store and everything. 40, straightening it up and everything. 40 Creek. $40 Creek barbecue sauce. Well, we don't need that. I better type in whiskey. Whiskey. What do you know? They don't sell it anymore. Well, that's why they did the closeout. Well, that's why it was $9. $9. Can you believe that? $9.99 for early times, though. Still, early times always cheap. You said because it is cheap. Well, we know that. Okay, let's go to Total Wine and More. That's your next best option. In my case, it is for online. Now, Mathern sells 40 Creek. I know. Let's see, the 40 Creek Niagara whiskey. Here we go. Not sold in Metairie? Something wrong with their website. $21.99. Okay, so it went up $2 since I bought it. Used to be $19.99. Gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. It gets very high ratings. All of their whiskeys, 4.5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. So it's a very well regarded product. But I'm not totally so. It's a $21.99 whiskey, and I got it for $9. But I'm not bragging about that, and I'm not trying to make people jealous or envious. I'm just saying I did find it for $9, so obviously I bought it. I would not pass it up. And I hadn't seen those deals at Walmart in over a year. So the salad days of Walmart super deals are over, apparently. But I guess it couldn't last forever. Forty Creek. So I've gotten out of 16 taste challenges. Can you believe that? I got that many Canadian whiskeys. Out of 16 taste challenges, I've gotten it wrong 4 times. So 3/4 success rate, 3 out of 4. If you reduce the fraction. But the ones I got wrong, it made sense because they were very similar one to another. They're very similar to Harwood. Actually, I prefer Harwood over 40 Creek. Sorry, Campari Canada. Sorry, 40 Creek people, but I'm not too thrilled with that maple syrup taste. It's kind of weird to me. I don't dislike it. I mean, I do like it. I do like it. I say I'm not thrilled with it. This one I am thrilled with. Let's go with the taste here at nighttime. Yeah, it's more authentic whiskey flavor to me. This is my opinion. Get the grain, the barley, malt, a little rye spice. It's just, and you can taste the wood. It tastes like just uncharred oak. It's very pleasant. It's like I said in previous videos when I was ranting on and on, I'd buy this over Crown Royal every day. Every day. Why would I buy it over Crown Royal? Is it better than Crown Royal? No, it isn't. And perhaps, and I guess I'm right, it's not quite as good because I did do a blind taste test and I was able to tell them apart. But maybe it's $1 worse, $2 worse. You understand? It might be $2 worse than Crown Royal, if that. Wouldn't go a little more than that. But look at the price difference. If I buy a regular bottle of Crown Royal, 750 milliliters, it's going to cost me $23.99 minimum. $23.99, and I can buy this whole bottle here, this big boy bottle, for $14.99. At least I did late last year, 2 months ago, something like that, 3 months ago. Now that's a significant difference. $14.99 for this big bottle, $23.99 for Crown Royal, which is barely better. So is this a good substitute? Yes, in fact, it's a perfect substitute. You see what I'm saying? So if you enjoy Crown Royal, but you're tired of paying the money, buy this and your problem is solved. Essentially solved. You got it. Okay, so thanks for watching. Now it's on to the news. And we know who won the primary last night. And the name was not Nikki.